Hello there. I'm going to make a Christmas bell. It's a free pattern on the Yarnspirations website. It's designed for Patons Classic Wool or Patons Decor, and it makes a little Christmas bell that you can use as a Christmas tree ornament, or you can use it to decorate a Christmas gift like they're doing here. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. But I'm just going to use yarn from my stash, just some old Christmas yarn that I found in a box that I've had forever. I've got this red that says yarn. Oh man, it's really old. But it'll work fine for a Christmas ornament because it's not going to be worn or anything. So I'm going to get started with my Christmas ornament. And like I said, the free pattern is on the website and it's called Ornamental Bells. Excuse me. Woo! Bless me. Bless me. And this pattern calls for size 7 knitting needles. So you can use straights, or you can do like I am and use a circular needle and just knit straight with your circulars. So it says that you should make 2 bells and then make 2 leaves, and you hook them all together to make a little thing. But you can make just separate little bells and use them one at a time if you want, whatever you want to do. And be sure to go buy some little jingle bells, because you can put a jingle bell inside your ornament when it's finished to make it jingle. Alright, it does have a tension listed here, gauge 20 stitches and 26 rows equals 4 inches with larger needles in stocking stitch. So I don't see a different size needle here. It just says size 7 needles, so I don't know what they're talking about with larger needles. I guess that was a typo. Anyway, the tension really is not going to matter. You can use any kind of yarn you want. You can use sport weight yarn if you want, or baby yarn, and just use the needles that are the same size that your yarn recommends. Because as long as you're using the same yarn throughout the whole project and the same size needles, your bell will turn out just fine. It'll just be smaller or larger according to whatever your yarn is. So it says with red, cast on 12. So I'll set my green yarn aside and save it for the leaf. And I'm going to use this red yarn that says yarn. It's really old. This worsted weight yarn is what I'm using, which is the same weight yarn as Patons Decor or Patons Wool, so I'm in good shape. It says cast on 12 stitches. So I'm going to cast on the long tail method like I always do. This is a really easy pattern. It's fun to use for teaching somebody how to knit. In fact, it's one of the very first patterns that I ever made when I first started learning to knit, because I learned during the fall and Christmas was coming up and I thought it would be fun to make a Christmas decoration, so I made some little Christmas bells, and it's a fun pattern for a beginner to work on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I need 2 more. So if you're teaching somebody to knit, this is a really fun thing for y'all to make together. So I've got my 12 stitches on. Then it says first row RS, which is right side. They're just telling you that you're on the right side now. You don't have to do anything with it. Knit. So this whole row I'm just going to knit every stitch. And if you want to, you can mark this row with a little stitch marker so that you'll remember which is the right side. So after I finish this row, I can put a marker on it. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to knit every stitch. Got my end wrapped up in there. There, now I finished that. I know that's the right side. So if you want, you can get a little stitch marker like this, a little locking stitch marker, or a safety pin, whatever you want to use, and just go in the middle of the row. Just put a little marker there. And I don't put it up on the stitches I worked, I put it on the row below. And it's on this side. So now I know that's the right side. Alright, now I'm going to do my second row. And this row says to knit 8, purl 4. And then it says outer edge. So they're telling you that those 4 purl stitches are going to be the outer edge of your bell. So I knit 8, 1. There. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a purl 4. So I just finished knitting those. I need to bring the yarn forward in between the needles so that I can purl these 4 stitches here. So this is good exercise for a new knitter to get used to knitting and purling. There we go. That was row 2. Now the pattern says repeat the last 2 rows 11 times more. So what I like to do whenever I come to an instruction like that that says repeat 11 times more is I start just keeping a little list there, the rows that I work. So you'll see as I do that. And I need to do row 1 and 2 those number of times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a 1 here and circle it, and I'll keep a little tack sheet there. And then I'm going to write a 2 here, and I'm going to circle that, and I'll keep a little tack list there. And what I'll do is every time I work row 1, I'll notch it off there. You'll see what I do when I do that. So I'm going to move my yarn over to the right side because I work better if I have the yarn on the right when I'm knitting. So you should have the yarn wherever it makes you comfortable. Alright, so that says repeat the last 2 rows. So row 1 was just knit, and I'm on the right side again here. Knit every stitch. There. So I finished row 1 time. So now right there beside that number 1, I'm going to put a little hash mark. 1 little hash mark. Now I'm going to do row 2 again. When you use a circular needle like I'm doing, this is your left needle and this is your right needle. And when I just finished that row, this was my right needle and this was my left needle. So you just swap needle points and you're knitting just like normal, like you would with straights. So now I'm going to need row 2. I'm going to knit 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to purl 4 again, so I bring my yarn forward between the needles. And I purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now when you flip it around, you're going to start to see how it's starting to make a design. Those 4 purl stitches on the other row, the row we just finished, are the wrong side of the fabric. And the 4 knits at the beginning of your all knit row make this part real smooth. So you can see 2 different kinds of fabric here that you're making. You're making garter stitch over here because you're knitting on both sides. And here you're making stockinette stitch because you're knitting on this side and purling on the other for those 4 stitches. So it's a good teaching pattern. It shows a knitter what they're creating. And this is the right side, so there's my little marker to show where the right side is. And that's the pretty side. And the wrong side doesn't really have much of a design to it. What you have here is garter stitch and reverse stockinette is what that's called, reverse stockinette. The back, the wrong side of a stockinette fabric is called reverse stockinette. And some people make a whole pattern out of that reverse stockinette. I like the stockinette side better, though it's smooth and pretty. So now I finished row 2. So I find my number 2 there and I make a little hash mark. So now I have to do those 2 rows 10 times more because I've already done 1. So you work on that with your bell, and I'm going to work on that with my bell. And I'll see you in the next video when we're ready for the next part of the pattern. Talk to you later. Bye.